Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby. In my last video about offhand shadow equipment, a lot of people suggested I retry this damage test with 200% ignore defense to see how good Rosa chain is. This would be a better comparison to see if there are diminishing returns for ignore defense beyond 200%. For many people who are optimized for legend instances that have 200% ignore defense, they wanted to know how good Vinx magic bracelet and skeleton bracer really are. So, how will the damage test go when there's 200% ignore defense? Also, how real are diminishing returns? I go beyond 200% to see exactly what happens. If you want to know, stay tuned for the results. The three shadow equipment that I'm using, which are refined 15 and at 15% progress, are the Rosa chain, skeleton bracer, and Vinx magic bracelet. I'll be using Type 1 for testing, and this time I'm at 200% ignore defense. So what changed from last video? I ate ignore defense food. I took out my Moon X star card, and I'll be using this later on to show the diminishing returns. I got a 5% ignore defense from my weapon, and I used the Devil Wing to get the additional 15% ignore defense because of a Morale 3 enchant. With self buffs and meals, I have 28,000 attack, (72% penetration), 49.4% skill damage increase, 152.5% damage, 98.1% physical damage increase, and 200% ignore defense. For Adventure Handbook, I have 3,752 attack and 67% attack deposits. I show I have no shadow equipment for this initial test. I cast Warm Wind, then run towards the golem. I hit the golem for 8.59 million damage. Next, I switch to the plus 15 Rosa chain with 15% progress. I have no enchants on this equipment. I have 28,000 attack, penetration remains unchanged at 72%, skill damage remains unchanged at 49.4%, damage increases 0.4% to 152.9%, physical damage remains unchanged at 98.1%, ignore defense goes up by 7.6% to 207.6%. I cast Warm Wind, I run towards the golem, I hit the golem for 8.62 million damage. Next is my plus 15 skeleton bracer at 15% progress, also no enchants. I have 28,000 attack, penetration remains unchanged at 72%, skill damage remains unchanged at 49.4%, damage goes up 1.9% to 154%, physical damage increases by 1.9% to 100%, ignore defense remains unchanged at 200%. I cast Warm Wind, I run towards the golem, I hit the golem for 8.73 million damage. Next is my plus 15 Vinx magic bracelet at 15% progress, also no enchants. I have 29,000 attack, penetration increases by 1.2% to 73.2%. Skill damage remains unchanged at 49.4%. Damage goes up to 2.7% to 155.2%. Physical damage increase remains unchanged at 98.1%, and ignore defense remains unchanged at 200%. I cast Warm Wind, run towards the golem, I hit the golem for 8.81 million damage. Here is my summary. Unlike my previous video where I had less than 200% ignore defense, so Rosa Chain did perform better, which could mislead some people that didn't hear the explanation. So here at 200%, it in fact is the Vinx magic bracelet followed by skeleton bracer for damage. This does confirm that if you do have 200% ignore defense, then it is better to use Vinx magic bracelet or even skeleton bracer since they'll do more damage. Later on, when the skeleton bracer has the 50% progress, which will unlock its anti-death special ability, many people would rather choose that to live and do damage than to die and do 0 damage. As I said in my previous video, I will start off with Vinx, then switch to skeleton bracer later when 50% progress is allowed. One bonus test I'm gonna do is show how bad it is to go beyond 200% ignore defense and just how small that increase will be. So this time I equip my Moon X Star card for the additional 15% ignore defense. I'm using the Rosa Chain again as my shadow equipment. The attack increases slightly due to Rosa Chain's ignore defense adding to attack. Besides that, the only other difference is the ignore defense, which is now at 222.6%. I cast Warm Wind, I run towards the golem, I hit the golem for 8.62 million damage. Here's a summary. You can see how bad ignore defense gets when you exceed 200%. Even at 222.6%, an additional 15% increase, the damage goes up by about 1,000 when compared with no Moon X Star card. So just a big warning to people who are at or near 200% ignore defense that the additional ignore defense given by Rosa Chain at higher progress may have big diminishing returns and you shouldn't pick it. So only choose Rosa Chain if you're well below the 200% ignore defense. Well, I hope that cleared that up for some people. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Here's a video that I would recommend, and if you want more sneak peeks, check out this playlist over here.